Duomo di Milano is the third biggest cathedral in Europe and one of the most recognizable symbols of Italy. Construction of the Duomo was officially started 7 centuries ago, in 1386, by Bishop Antonio da Saluzzo, but its vision truly grew with the support of John Galeazzo Visconti, Milan's ruler of the time. The Duomo owes its signature pink-hued white marble to Visconti, whose grand ideas for the cathedral lead the architects to replace the originally planned terracotta stone with Candaglia marble, from Lake Maggiore in the north of Italy. There is a legend about Duomo's construction which said that a devil appeared in Visconti's dreams and ordered him to build a church, filled with diabolical images or else, he would steal his soul. That is why so many monstrous heads decorate the outside of the Duomo. At least 78 different head architects worked on the cathedral over the centuries, not to mention the thousands of artists, sculptors, and specialized workers who were involved in the construction at one point or another. Major decisions were made among a team of technicians and other workers from a variety of backgrounds and cultures, in an exchange of ideas and experiences, ultimately turning the Duomo into perhaps the most European of all the Gothic cathedrals. As the plans grew and grew, construction continued to drag on. The cathedral was finally consecrated in 1418, though in reality only the nave was finished at the time, and after its consecration, the Duomo remained incomplete for centuries. More significant work was started in the 16th century when Archbishop Borromeo and his architect Pellegrini added their influence to the style through the strict Catholic reforms introduced in that period, but it wasn't until the 19th century that the final stages of construction were completed. Although it's easy to forget the long history behind monuments, the details and sculptures that cover the cathedral are enough to remind us of the sheer amount of sweat, time, and money that went into making the building. There are 3,400 statues, 135 gargoyles, and 700 figures on the massive structure. Following the marble path along the sides of the Duomo will lead you to the terrace. Only from there can you directly see the famous Milano Madonnina. The Madonnina is a 4-meter-high golden statue of the Virgin Mary, the symbol of the city and protector of the Milanese. Covered in 6,750 sheets of gold leaf gilding, it weighs over a half-ton. Its placement was perplexing at the beginning because it was thought that it could attract lightning. A myth about Madonnina said that during the Second World War, the Milanese covered the Madonnina with rags so that its golden reflections would not capture the attention of the Allied bombers. The oculus of the Duomo's sundial, built in 1780, is a hole that allows the sunlight to come in and hit the sundial. In the past, the bells rang as the sundial indicated midday, and all the clocks in the city would be set at that time. The Duomo's sundial was the astronomical reference for the prime meridian before the Greenwich one in England took its place in 1884. Among Duomo's statues, that of Saint Bartholomew is one of the strongest. The skin of the saint is draped over his shoulder like a cape because it represents the flaying during his martyrdom. The statue was initially located outside the Duomo, but since it unsettled those who looked at it, it was later placed inside, in front of the Medici mausoleo. Despite all the work, it can be argued that construction has never been completely finished. A 5-year project to clean the building was started in 2002 and routine restorations and cleaning are continually taking place to maintain the pristine white marble. Now over 5 million people visit the Duomo annually to admire one of the world's oldest and biggest monuments. The Duomo stands strong in such a cosmopolitan city, an anchor of its rich history. Contrary to what one might think, despite its large dimensions, the interior of the Milan Duomo is incredibly welcoming. The beautiful, colorful stained glass windows depicting scenes from the Bible are visible, reflecting an ethereal light on the floor of the church. It is now possible to descend the marble staircase to the cathedral treasure to see and appreciate the Paleochristian and Romanesque objects. It is also possible to climb the cathedral ceiling to admire a spectacular view of the city. The best time of the year to visit Duomo Milan is during the spring season. The weather in Milan in the spring months of April and May gets cooler, and the crowds get thinner. Summer falls between June, July, and August, and the city witnesses thousands of tourists flocking into places like the Duomo Milan. Christmas is an important festival in Milan, and you may not find many attractions open. There is a lot to see at the Milan Cathedral, and if you aim to explore every nook and cranny, it might easily take you half day to tour the cathedral.